Think we're good. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Coach Cam. We are back. Coffee with Cam. It's been a minute. I never did it live for y'all. It was always kind of a one-on-one thing that I did with people on LinkedIn, especially during COVID. That's how I really built what I was doing on the media side, the connections, amazing people, all that stuff. But now that you guys know we got the L3 Media Studio, I figured why not bring it back live? Woo, woo, woo. So we got some dope guests in the studio with us today. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Cameron Macias, aka Coach Cam. I am co-owner of Forward Learning Group and co-host of the L3 Perspective, as well as co-owner of L3 Media, which is where we're at right now, based out of Solano County, Fairfield, California. So if you're anywhere in California or the United States, come on through. We'll host you. We'll make it happen here, right? But today, we got some guests. So I brought back Coffee with Cam really because my friend and one of my business partners, also my tax strategist, Karina Cook, was like, she's doing this amazing event, Faith Over Finance. She's going to talk to you about it. But I thought, what better way to bring it back than introduce this conference to the world? So with that being said, our two guests that we're really blessed to have in the studio are guests of Karina's. So I'm going to let her tell you who she is and then introduce her guests.
Thank you so much, Cam. Actually, I'm very excited for this Coffee with Cam. Let me tell you guys, we have amazing conversations all the time that is not just like scheduled on a podcast. So it's great that he's actually putting himself out here to be of service of entrepreneurs to really allow them that space. So I'm all for it. So thank you, Cam. And also, it's amazing to be a part of it for the first time launching. So my name is Karina Cook. I am a woman of many different things. I am not only a tax strategist, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, a CEO. I have a couple different businesses, but what I'm launching and want you guys to see today is Faith Over Finance. And I'm really excited to let you guys know as we go through this live what that entails. But it is for entrepreneurs and young professionals. And of course, we put faith and finance into it. And I thought, what would be a better way to include other people in on this? So I brought my really good friends. I have one of my friends, Simone Lane, here. Okay. Simone Lane is amazing. She has a number of different financial businesses. She helps from budgeting to financial advising. And she also is a faithful woman. And so I love her perspective on things. So I'll let her tell you once she gets into that more. But I also have another good friend for you guys. His name is Julian, and Julian is amazing when it comes to credit and business funding. And I talk about this all the time with businesses. And so this is one of those things that I feel people really need. And the way that he talks about it makes you feel like I got to get my stuff together so I can get this. So Julian is here today with us also to tell you guys a little bit of him. So I'm excited.
Who do you want to go first?
Well, we're going to do ladies first. Let's do ladies first. Let's go with Simone.
Good afternoon. I am Simone Lane. I am so happy to be here. Karina invited me, and I knew immediately that it was a connection. I didn't have to think about whether or not I wanted to do it. I knew I was going to be a part of this. Faith is everything for me. It's faith over everything. But in this particular case, we're going to go with faith over finance. And I use it in my investment strategies. I use it in my budgeting business. And so it's really important that I make sure that what I do aligns, that how I deal with finances aligns. And so it's, like I said, it's faith over everything. And I'm really excited to be a part of this.
And my name is Julian Pilate. I'm from Vallejo, California. I'm the president of Take Flight Solutions, also known as TFS Funding, where we specialize in helping the entrepreneur be able to get access to capital. There's a lot of times business owners have the dream, they have the passion, they have the commitment, but a lot of times they're lacking one thing is the access to capital. They don't have the know-how, they don't have the resources to be able to go to the bank and be able to get the money to be able to get them to the next level.
Mhm.
And that's where Take Flight Solutions comes in. When it comes to personal credit, when it comes to building out their business, when it comes to coming up with a full profile. So when you go to the bank, they're going to be like, you know what? You the one. Let me go ahead and give you this line of credit, business funding, whatever the sort. So I'm honored to be here. Ms. Karina invited me to be a guest on the Faith Over Finance event. Unfortunately, I'm have another event to be able to go to that day. But I told her, look, next event I'm in there. Let me know, because I'm so excited because I think the area, our community needs more events like this. Especially when it comes to financial literacy, and then also exploring more people's faith. So thank you for the invite.
Yes, of course.
Cool. So, as I talked about, one of the things we are going to talk about is what's going on in our communities, right? What's going on in the world right now, what's going on in the United States, and things of that nature. So, I wanted to kick it off with something that I actually sent to Karina this morning, which was, and it was, I found that this morning.
Yeah.
And so it was perfect. And what it was someone that posted that the American dream is a scam. And the premise of it was they asked ChatGPT about the American dream. And it said, although, yes, it is the American dream, it's actually a veil of how to keep people in prison by finances.
Mm.
So I'm going to leave it there. And Karina, you go first.
Man, that is, I think it's wild to think because one, we talk about when we go to school, somebody brought up before, they said, do you remember in school, kindergarten, first grade, where it was a lot of colors? It was like you were yourself, you were talking, no worries in the world, right? Imagination was running wild. We were visionaries.
Yeah.
There was no cap. And then as you start, and I start to see this with my son, just real time, because I forgot as I got older.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. When he got to first or third grade, everything shifted. Like the rooms were empty. It was gray. It was given prison. And I think that, even thinking back to school, I'm like, did they even teach finance? How did they? I remember sex ed, right? They still took that out after a while, right? I remember that transition of them taking it out. And I was like, wow, well, what did I learn? I wasn't really into academics in school. I was more a socialite, to say the least. But there had not been nothing in there that talked about finance. We talked about geometry. We talked about algebra. And though those things are needed, right, in some areas, the everyday person is not using that, right? And so I think that when I read what Cam sent me, I thought, wow, I said, this would actually be a perfect topic for all of us, because at some point when we are like merging together our conversations, and when I see their content and us talking, it's always that. It's we're so caught in how do we break these cycles, because when you get clients, and Cam, you may even get clients, and we'll talk about this down the line, but mentally, like the way you think about money, you have to uncover sometimes people's thought about it. And so I think a lot of that stems from like our perception of what we think finance is supposed to be, what we think American dream is supposed to be, where we think what kind of jobs we're technically supposed to have. And it limits us to like break through the ceiling to like do certain things in life financially. So that was powerful to see.
I try.
Cam,
What you got?
Shots fired.
Yeah.
You came out blazing.
I told you, let me introduce myself.
Yes. Well, I love it. My company, my budgeting company is Bespoke Budgeting. Bespoke. Bespoke means tailored, customized, specific to you. I feel that way about finances. That's what finances are. Your financial story, there are no two financial stories that are the same. There are no two dreams that are the same. And so when we break, that's my way of breaking that cycle of it all has to look alike. What one client does, what one person does with their money is different from the other because their values are different. What their experience growing up is different. And so learning how to not compare. Let's stop comparing your portfolio or your story, whatever it is. It's not going to match your neighbors because they did not have the exact same upbringing, the exact same experiences that you had, and it's important to sit and be okay with and be okay with who you are and your finances and your story. I have people that don't want to. The American dream seems to say we have to have home ownership as a primary residence.
Yes.
You don't necessarily have to do that. I'm not against ownership,
Right.
but if it vexes you, I tell my investment clients, we have a thing in securities where we say it's risk tolerance. I call it a stomach ache. If what's your stomach ache? If it doesn't align with you, if it doesn't fit your value set, there's other things you can be using your money and finances to grow.
I want to add on to or build off of what Karina was mentioning about, especially with the school system. Let's be real, the school system was not set up for us to be able to get to the next level, right? It's really, and let's look at how the classroom is set up. The classroom has been the same since, I want to guess, early 1900s, right? We all, a whole bunch of students sitting in front of the class, everybody looking at one teacher, but look at everything else. Technology has evolved, right? Why are we still using the same old books that we were using back in the 80s and the 90s, right? Why are we not talking about personal finance? Why are we not talking about it? There's a reason why we're not talking about it. Because there are corporations who are profiting off of the ignorance of people not knowing it, right? There's people who come to me. So I talked to a lot of people with their credit, right? And a lot of times they come to me and say, you know what, Julian, I was provided for my family when I was growing up, right? But they didn't teach me about how to be able to save, budget. They didn't teach me about credit, right? Then because they never taught about it, they didn't see the importance of it, right? Then it got to a point where, I need to start adulting. Look, I need to start. I need to get an apartment. I need to get a car, right? And when they go to the car, I don't know if you guys been to the dealership. You know how, if you've never bought a car before, you know how complicated it feels to buy a car. There's so many numbers, interest rates. You feel so overwhelmed. And for a person who doesn't know about all the ups and downs of it, you're just gonna take whatever they give you. Right. And of course, as a salesperson, they're gonna see the person who doesn't know. Right. So they're gonna say, oh, this is gonna be a great deal. I'm gonna give you the 16% interest rate. This is gonna be a 20, let's just say 2012 Toyota Camry, because that's all you can get approved for right now. Because you got a 500 credit score. Right. But look, you're gonna be good though. You got a job, you're gonna be all right, but don't worry, you got a car. You're gonna be able to get A to B, right? But then the person gets with this car, they're paying months after month. They might be paying $500 to $1,000 for a car that's 15 years old, right? Then they realize, they look at their bill, they didn't put even dent into their loan, right? So what does that do? They put some underwater, get some more into debt, right? And because they have bad credit, they can't get approved for anything else, right? It doesn't give people a chance, right? And because of that, people now have to get high interest loans and everything else. So guess who profits off of that? Other companies, right? Credit card companies, other lenders. Right. So honestly, I really feel that it starts elementary school. Right. It starts elementary school. And I'm sure you're teaching your son everything he can right now, what he's able to absorb. And we need more of that. You know?
Can I say that the people we talk about who creates the system hate to see us coming, because I think that's an important part of it is the mindset of people, right? Because it shifts and we're always gonna, and I notice with everything, you always have to shift back to the mindset. And so for every single one of us, I'm pretty sure we've dealt with some form of resistance with that, right? Whether we talk about buying goods or services, something down to a good or service. It doesn't even have to be credit. It could be like, hey, can I support you? Well, I don't know if that, because of what some people are trained to think, right? And what value is and what worth is. And And I love that you said that about the house, because I was so, for a moment, I would think that, like, okay, the American dream, everybody I know is buying a house.
Yep.
Everybody. I need to go buy a house. I'm about to buy a house.
Just
That's what,
Just
right?
that's what everybody
Just
else
'cause that's
is saying,
what
right?
they said to do.
So it still wasn't financially adding up to me, because I'm like, well, the mortgage, the mowing the lawn and whatever. Now, when you get to a certain point, yeah, because then you're paying rent and then right? But like what I was taught, and I want to say, I also heard Carlton Dennis talk about this. You have to be comfortable in the space that you're in, right? And we go back to comparing people.
Yeah.
Some people I know are very great renters, because one, they may be traveling. They're like, I don't see a value right now to put into a home, so I will put into an investment home, maybe, right? And so it's okay to like start in another way and see, like, really you have to understand what you see as a value, and then start there. So that's the last thing I wanted to point out about that.
Yeah, for sure. Can I add on to that, to the whole idea about buying a home may not be for everybody? I think it definitely should not be for everybody. There's so many times where I talk to people and they say, hey, I want to be able to buy a home. I got approved for my mortgage lender, da 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 da. And I look at it, I mean, you know, and I don't want to push people down, but they're making maybe like $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
You know, on paper, because you got approved on paper does not mean you can really afford it. Because yes, you might be able to approve for the mortgage, but a lot of people don't understand there's maintenance involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Some goes down, you gonna go into debt. You're gonna go into debt to be able to keep on the property.
Yeah.
Have y'all read the book Robert Kiyosaki? What's his famous?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. What did they say?
Ate that up.
He talked about
Yes.
a lot of
Assets versus
people
liabilities.
see that a house is an asset.
Yeah.
A house can be seen as a liability if you're not making money out of it. More money's coming out of your pocket, right? So people really got to understand, okay, what is your situation?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to use it for long term to be able to build wealth with it, and or maybe possibly get some cash flow of it?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be able to have it as now a liability where you're forced to work your job every single day for a job that you don't like, you know, just to be able to keep up with a mortgage, not being able to pay for anything else, right? Now you got to ask, is it an asset or a liability at that point?
Yeah.
Good conversation.
Man, Cam. Right, I told you.
No, when it popped up, that was instantly. That's why I literally sent it to you as soon as it popped up. I read through kind of the comments, you know, because they do that thing where they like post something. Hey, look at the comments, and that's what it talked about was, you know, we have people are told to do these things because it's going to, you know, make you wealthy and so on and so forth. But in reality, it's all meant to make you keep working. You know, like in the messages specifically, it talked about how production has increased, you know, year after year, but the wages have not increased either with it. And this is all from ChatGPT. Like she just put it in there and it popped out all of that. It was like, you know, inflation hasn't kept up. Like we have been able to produce more and more, and people have worked more and more, yet the compensation has also not increased thus far.
It's not making sense.
It's not making sense. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like, you know, so my family is when we were getting married, my wife and I were like, hey, spend $5,000 on a venue we're going to use for 6 hours or buy a house and turn it into an Airbnb. So that's what we did. And then we just had the wedding there. Right. And Karina helps me make sure I keep it all good. But those are conversations that people don't like to have. Right. It's like, oh, but I want the big thing for all these other people.
Yes.
Nah, bruh.
That's a hack. So you got an Airbnb.
Yeah. So what we did was we knew we were going to get married in the summer.
Okay.
And we were like, hey, I don't want to buy or I don't want to pay for a venue. We did look. We found like some good venues too. But at the end of the day, I was like, bro, this don't make sense.
Yeah.
So we went. My wife wanted a house in the mountains.
Right.
We went and looked in the mountains. And we found a house in the mountains. We were military, so we got a VA loan.
Yeah.
Got into the house, and then we had a wedding.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we had a wedding, and then after we got done with the wedding, I went through the county process to make it a vacation home rental. There's someone in it right now.
Can we talk about how expensive weddings are, man? See, that's an amazing move.
Yeah.
Because it's wedding season, right?
For sure.
Once you get to, start getting to 28, 29, 30, it seems
Bro.
like you got a wedding every other month, right?
Yeah.
So I've been to a lot of weddings over the past year, and every wedding I've been going to, I'm looking at, because I always secretly ask, yo, how much?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And
Oh,
I
yeah.
can tell every time I go, it gets more expensive.
Yep.
So the one before, the wedding I went to before this one, the one I went to last month, it was about $80,000.
Oh
Right?
my God.
And then, but that was in the kicker. I just went to one in Pittsburgh, and when I tell you this was like something coming out of the movies, I said there was a celloist, there's a violinist. They had rented out a museum, by the way, a whole like a national museum.
Wow.
They had people coming from the ceilings,
Wow.
decoration. Look, I'm trying to tell you, I wish I could pull out the photos for everything, but so I couldn't find out exactly how much it cost, but I found out that the owner the bride's dad was the past CFO of a tech company.
Oh, he's
the
like,
tech
man.
company. But I was talking to a few other people who had thrown weddings before, and they said, "Oh, this is easy, like 150." And I said, "Wow, that's crazy." And but I bet $60,000 of it was just because they rented out the museum and because it was a wedding, right? If they had any other event,
Yeah.
it probably would have been
Come on
significantly
now.
less.
American dream.
Oh man, look, it's crazy. Just because everybody else said it goes back to buying a home, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I'll read you exactly what so it said why do most Americans end up poor or middle class? That was actually the prompt that she did. And it said, number 1, the wealth game is rigged. Said number 2. Oh, hold on. Come on now. Yep. It said number 2, financial literacy is not widespread. Number 3 was wages haven't kept up with costs, and the American dream is a distraction. And number 5, debt keeps people stuck.
We just ate with that. I'm telling you guys, like I can see that. I can see all of that.
So like as someone who talks to people about their finances, like mindset wise, top 3 things you see wrong with people's mindset when it comes to money these days?
I just feel 1, keeping up with the Joneses, right? Not using that money as an investment vehicle. Okay. So we're buying things that does not have a return.
Yep.
And that goes back to what you were talking about with the home versus renting out a place that you're not going to get just an experience from. Another thing is education and literacy. Like as I'm still learning as I go, right? There's so much that you uncovered. You just have to have that foundation. And a lot of people miss out on having the foundation. And then I would say, so lack of education and then mindset. Like people are in a scarcity mindset, I feel like, and when you're in a scarcity mindset, that is strictly just saying, hey, like I'm either trying to survive.
Yep.
Right. I'm living to survive because I feel like I'm not in abundance to get more money. So I'm going to use it this way or I'm not going to use it this way. And those will be like the top things I've seen. And it takes a while to uncover if you're not already there in the wealth stage building. And some people have been built that by growing up with family members who've had instilled that in them already early. Or they had to do that mindset shift, or young or in a certain time frame that they had already figured that out. Oh, I'm in a mindset shift, and this is how I can use the money instead. So
it's a real thing. It's really one of the things I see a lot is we were taught wrong. We were either not taught at all or we were taught wrong. And what that looks like is live my best life, drive what I want to drive, live where with the Joneses, or live, according to these comparisons. And then if there's something left, I'll save. And then if there's something left, I'll invest. That's out of order. That's out of order. And we are captive consumers. We are always pushing and striving to get the next thing.
Mhm.
We rarely sit, and I'm not saying sit in complacency or settling, but there is a place for a moment
Yeah.
that we need to sit just in gratitude for what we have. There was a time we wished, prayed, hoped for the house we have, the job we have, the income we have, but we seldom sit in a place to appreciate
Yes.
and have gratitude. for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Changing the cycle is really important. That's that mindset thing.
Yeah.
I often have to break down financial trauma. I call it financial trauma
Mhm.
of your upbringing. You know, when your parents taught you and you lived under not having enough,
Mhm.
you either do it or you run from it so far and hard
Mhm.
that it's not sustainable, and you don't always understand why you do it. Breaking that mindset down and unlearning those
Unlearning.
habits,
Mhm.
unlearning spending habits with your
Mhm.
finances. It's a hard walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hard walk.
I think spending is definitely a major factor into that. But I want to bring something up that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about enough.
Mm.
It's about realizing sometimes it's not about a spending problem. Sometimes it's about an income problem. right?
Yeah.
Some people just
Yeah.
don't make enough money and not doing enough to make more money.
Yeah.
Right. And they rather just be comfortable doing what they're doing because it's what they're used to doing.
Yeah.
And because they're always doing what they're used to doing, they're always going to get paid the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Mm.
If they're always going to get paid the same amount of money, we all know that everything is increasing in price.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right. People are being demanded to do more work, but their income is not increasing. Right. So what does that go into? Learning new skills.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Being uncomfortable, being okay with, oh man, this is hard with everything with AI right now. Look, everybody should be busting their A
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
able to learn this
Yeah.
AI stuff, right? Because it's going to be taking over, and a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs,
Yeah.
right? Whether we like it or not, we need to be taking more effort to
No.
learning all this new technology, right? Whether it's go to seminars, conferences, even watching YouTube videos. But the problem is, a lot of people don't want to learn anything
For sure.
because they've been
Or is it entitlement?
entitlement,
Yeah,
right? The
it's
world
entitlement.
Yeah.
should change for me,
Yeah.
as opposed to, oh, I got to learn new skills. I need to adapt
Yeah.
to what the world is coming to,
Yeah.
right? Think about it. Like some people may have, let's just say you work for some type of job, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of jobs or companies that went out of business during COVID. Imagine you doing that job for 30 plus years, right? And I can understand when you lose your job and you're forced to do something different, you may not want to, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna do all. I'm not. But guess what? You ain't got a choice. Otherwise, you're just gonna be SOL.
Yep.
You're not gonna be able to produce anything for the economy, and you're not gonna have any income,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
I feel like it's all about getting uncomfortable to learn something new.
So we're all entrepreneurs, business owners here,
Mhm.
right? So the next article I wanted to talk about was advice for first-time entrepreneurs. So it was written by our good friend Gary Vaynerchuk.
Mm.
I'm not gonna go through the whole article. I don't want to waste time, but in general sense, he gives these top principles. There's three main ones, and they are: be practical about your money.
Mhm.
Realize that building a business is a huge time commitment. I think that's another thing. People think,
Yeah.
there's all these get rich quick
Yeah.
schemes, and then hold yourself to your word.
Yeah.
And so under the first one, he says cash is oxygen. How much money do you have to stay afloat, and for how long? Do you have 1 year's worth of rent and overhead? First time entrepreneurs always make this mistake, and it's my biggest concern for them. You have to make sure your actions can respond to the bleeding of cash
Yeah.
that occurs before you even turn a profit.
Yeah.
So as a tax strategist, this is something I'm sure you combat, because everyone thinks they're going to be profitable their first year.
Yeah.
Everyone does, right? Oh, I got the best idea in the
Yep.
world. I'm going to make it happen. Very seldom are people actually successful.
Yeah.
What have you all seen in either your own business or someone else's that has made them successful before that 5-year mark that is actually the standard?
Ooh,
Oh, Julian took a big
man. What has made them successful?
what
Not
has
unsuccessful.
helped them break that 5-year rule? So whether it was at 1 year, 2 year, 3, or even 4 year, what has helped them break that rule that people say of you will not be profitable
Yeah.
for the first 5 years?
Planning.
Yep.
Planning. And you guys, okay, I'm going to talk about planning and preparation. There's a moment where you have to get out of that. But what I feel a lot of entrepreneurs, when they come in, they make the mistake of not planning. Maybe they just either fell into this or they were like, oh, I got to get whatever, right?
Yeah.
But they forget the planning part. So, you know, I think that what happens when you get past that point, it's like, okay, I know taxes are coming. I know I need to do my bookkeeping. I know that when I make the profit, it's not fully the profit, right?
sure.
And I think that that's what stops a person from not doing it because they have to spend the money that's in the business for the lifestyle. A person who is getting past that 5-year hump knows how. And then when they start to make more money, right? Then they know how to like, okay, now I can start slowly taking money out of my business and have a profit. But the first step was planning and hitting the right people and also knowing that they needed a team to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't go, I mean, I tell people you can figure out taxes if you want. That's a whole nother career, right? You could figure out how to do the thing, but it's better if you plan and then you get people involved to help you do the things that you don't have time for.
Yeah.
That you don't want to learn. And then, you're able to like see your business go past that little hump because there's always that hump if you don't do like the things necessary to sustain the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Miss K.
okay.
Patrice shouted you out. She says Simone Lane is awesome. She worked with my 18-year-old and gave him the confidence to create a stock
Let's
portfolio,
go.
and he made money.
Real
Live
life
testimony.
testimonials.
Let's go.
Don't play
Live
with her.
So-
Come on, the screenshot.
Yeah, screenshot. It's
Don't
on the
play with
screen
her.
for those of you
Let's
watching.
see. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. I like that.
So
So,
what I
anyways,
know-
continue.
What I know is, and it's unconventional, and I know that that's part of who I am, is because money didn't come to me traditionally.
Mhm.
it didn't happen that way for me. And so what I know is, and I just spoke about it, I think there's two key factors. One is you talked about I know I got to do this. I know I got to do that. I know I got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we know
Mm-hmm.
we lack discipline.
Mm.
We lack the discipline to execute the I knows.
Yes.
I know I'm supposed to live beneath what I bring in.
Yeah.
I know I should save. I know I should put away for taxes.
Ooh.
We lack the discipline to do it. And we also sometimes just lack the courage, the belief that I can.
Mm.
And that's where help comes in. That's where you surround yourself with people that push you
Yes.
to say, no, yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
And you have to, and you will. So courage and discipline, I think, are really two key factors in overcoming some of the financial hurdles that we
I
come
love
up
that.
against in anything, also entrepreneurship.
I feel like you should be a motivational speaker.
Man,
I'm feeling it in my soul.
You feel
She said, "You feel
I
it?"
felt
I
it. I got a
feel
little
it.
chills a little bit over here.
Man.
that's where I sit, though. I sit in it.
There you go.
I sit to help people walk through it. I tell people I'm a financial responsibility coach.
Mm.
I like that.
I
You're the first and only one I'll ever know.
financial. That's
Financial responsibility coach.
that's what I coach. We need the help. We need help.
Yep.
So,
Mr. Julian.
I think that way too many people have dreams of being a business owner, entrepreneur, create something great, or even create something small. But the problem is, I think people quit too early.
Mm.
Yeah.
They quit way before
That's a
they
good
even
one.
give themselves a chance
Yeah.
to be able to get over a hurdle, right? People
Patience.
think patience. People stop at the first time there's a hurdle.
Yeah.
right? There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of them. And to think that, oh, you can't go over one, I mean, it makes me think, y'all think this was going to be a cakewalk? You think it's
Yeah.
Oh
going to
yeah.
be easy?
Oh yeah.
It's like people like to go online, right? We talk about Gary Vee, right? People see Gary Vee, they might see Alex Ramosi,
Yep.
they might see everybody on social media. They have
all the great accolades and everything of the sort, but people don't also don't realize all the stuff that had to go through. And that's what Gary Vee and Alex Hormozy talk about all the time. It's like, you know how many L's I took?
Hello.
Bro, people, it's
For
crazy, but people are
years.
not willing to take the L's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot more L's than W's,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Like,
I think people are just not willing to do it, right? When things get harder, I'm gonna go back to doing something that's simple, right? Something I'm used to, right? And then people just like going back to what we talked about before. People don't like feeling uncomfortable when it comes to that, right? I'm sure that all you guys could attest that first year, couple years,
yeah.
hard as hell.
Yeah.
Right? How many L's did y'all take?
Yeah.
How many L's did y'all take? A lot of L's, right?
Right.
And just
Yeah.
being able to go past that. I think there's many different reasons why, but I think mentality, being able to persevere, even when you don't feel like doing it.
Ooh.
And that goes back to your why.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have that big enough why.
Yeah.
The why has to be big. And when we, if I can say this, step into the faith arena, it speaks to, it has to be bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be bigger than what you can achieve on your own. But when we don't have a big enough why, I tell people, don't give me monetary challenges.
That's what it is.
Because that don't move me.
Yeah.
Give me an area, an arena that moves me. It's about my why.
Yeah.
You talk about my grandbaby, you start getting into my children.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tell people when I get ready to fight, my arms get loose.
Ooh.
You start talking about my kids and my grandbabies,
out
my family,
now.
my
That
arms
right
get
hook.
loose. Yes.
Listen.
And
Have a
then-
big enough why.
and just reminding yourself, right? I think a lot of people tell themselves, "Oh, I got a strong way," because I think we all talk about, "Oh, to be able to get money," but what's the reason why to get money? Be able to, I think it goes back to supporting our family, be able to have more time, right?
Yeah.
Keeping and reminding yourself over and over and over again, over and over and over again. I think that is the key, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the reason why all of us are at this table, right?
Yeah. No, that's you know what? What's funny is when we talk about, it's so easy for people to have a why with taxes, right? Because it's like, listen,
They're gonna come get it.
either you're gonna, because especially if you pay taxes before.
Let's talk
very-
about that IRS. I'm still waiting on 2024, dog. Or
Dude.
23. Excuse me.
Talk to Mr. IRS.
Listen, that's a strong why for people where they're like, you know what? And I feel like that desire, like that feeling, it has to feel that deep where it's like, okay, like I want it so bad. We talked about that before. It's always going back to that for sure. Like, why are you doing it? Because I think when you start to chase money, because a lot of people go into entrepreneurship, like you said, because it's easy. It seems easy, right? It seems like American dream. It seems like, oh, I have this idea, I'm going to do it. And then you go through this space of like, oh, I have to slow down or I am exhausted. But then when you go back to the foundation, to me personally, it cannot just be money. It cannot because I think sometimes what happens is when you do get money, it's not fulfilling you anyway, right? It's giving you a tool, a resource, but then that other thing that you're desiring, family, peace, time, whatever those other things are, I feel like surpasses that. So if you're just trying to get this car, it's like, okay, well, you get the car, then you're done. Then what happens to the business then? What happens to this thing? So I love what you guys said about that.
So, faith over finances. Let's move into it. We hear a lot about finances. What got to faith over finances? And tell us about that.
Well, you guys, when faith over finance happened, it literally was a vision from God. I didn't even know I was going to go down this route. Of course, I have a relationship with God, and I'm in finances, and I kept asking him, like, what is the purpose? What do you want me to do? Because I want to feel more fulfilled. I do feel fulfilled with telling people how to be responsible with their money and like say, hey, taxes here, but like there's something else that's missing here. And out of nowhere he gave me the vision, and I remember me and my husband was just working on the drawing board. If you were to do an event, what would that event be? Right? What is the mission? What is the vision? Who would you, if there was nothing stopping you, who would you get to sponsor? Who would you get to come? And so we start festering up, and I was just, there was like you know, when you feel like something that you always wanted to do or you're excited about and you get this feeling in your stomach. It was like that. And people have been telling me for a long time, hey, let's do an event. And I kept pushing events out. Like, I don't really want to do it yet because I really don't feel like inspired. And this moment, I was like, here it goes.
Yeah.
And every day after that, God has given me visions. He has given me revelations. He has been there showing me like this is a bigger than what I can see. And so originally what birthed this whole thing was I work with entrepreneurs and young professionals anyway, right? So a lot of that, what we talk about is what I see. It's like, okay, I've seen it. I've been through it where, you know, I try not to be religious because I felt religious was a little bit more like your rules. There's rules.
Yeah.
There's these things, right? This is not religion. When we talk about faith, I'm talking about building a relationship. Right? We have a relationship. God is asking for a relationship. You have a relationship with him, a relationship with yourself, and a relationship with other people. So this is what the foundation is. And so not only that, right? Giving people that space and openness to say, these are real conversations we're having.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we're having these conversations around faith, what does that mean? For me, faith means trusting. Right? That means just trusting. We go out, we walk out the door, we don't expect to get hit by anything. Right? We just walk out naturally. And so that's the same trust you have. We have a relationship with God, whether that's building your finances, giving you stewardship over your money, helping someone else. So when we talk about faith, you know, people can have faith, right? And be they can have faith and a broke mindset.
Oh yeah.
Right? And stay broke.
Yep.
Right? Or they can be wealthy and have no faith and be lonely and don't feel a desire to like do anything. So I was like, how can I bring this together? Like, how can I give people the opportunity to say, hey, have faith. What's faith? Having a relationship with God and trust him with your money. And then learn what he said about money. Because what we do as a lot of Christian people or people getting into faith, they operate in a form of lack. Right? Scarcity. When you say like you're holding your money, and then you'll talk to a lot of people who say like, oh, you know, I've had it on my comments before when I talked about faith where God doesn't talk about money, and he actually does. He wants us to be wealthy.
Yeah.
Right? He wants us to charge premium prices, right?
The more money you have, the more people you can help.
The more people you can, and you're putting your gift out on the world to give someone else, and right? And it's in return. And so it's like, okay, if we can build a platform to have people understand that you can talk about faith openly, you know, even if you're not a faithful person, right? You could come into the conversation and just understand, because if we're not even talking about God, there's a principle here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody lies on love. We all want to have integrity. We all want to have something to fall back on as we are going through life, because that's what the Bible talks about, right? It's just a guide. It's a guide. It's promises. It's things to follow on when you get discouraged, when you need advice. It's like an owner's manual, right? Even if you build some on your own, you still should go back because you might forget how to do something, right? So when we talk about the premise of faith, that's what I thought about. And when we talk about finances, I see even, you know, wealthy people, and we have one of the speakers who will be talking just on this, not like having wealth, right? But then not having the faith.
Yeah.
Right. And forgetting the sight of like, well, what got me here? And then now I'm not fulfilled. I'm buying these things. I'm getting this money. Like, dang, what, like, there's no fulfillment. I'm missing something. And so, you know, it's trying to touch so for the beginning entrepreneur to the entrepreneur who is making a lot of money to say, hey, where can we all meet in the middle?
Yeah.
Share with each other and have these conversations, and then build on that. And then hopefully out of this, we can all steward the money by using each other's as resources, right?
Yeah.
And so, that's the premise of it. And I'm just really excited about like being able to share that with the world.
So I have a question. As someone who doesn't go to church, I believe in higher power.
Yeah.
Do you ever find that people sometimes hide behind their faith in order not to take action? As far as like, oh, it's okay. God's going to figure it out for me. I don't need to do nothing.
Can I say something to that? Oh, I'm glad you asked. So like what I feel about that it's more like, okay, we can ask God to be a provider, right? We can say, hey, God, can you, we say what, provision, right? You give us provision, but then we have no preparation.
Yeah.
Right. So like we could sit and pray for things all we want, right? God, can you do this? Or can you do that? I want this. We can manifest things. But if we don't put the work in, that's just like asking for something, sitting on the couch and waiting for it to happen.
Yeah. Or you say you're ready for it, and then it comes, and you're like, "Oh, never mind. Maybe
And then
next
you're
week."
not prepared. You're not prepared.
I'll be prepared next week.
Right. And it's a saying that we talk about: faith without work is dead, right? And you could be hearers of the word, but not doers. So you can hear things, but not do things.
Yeah.
And I think that some people, they do get nervous, they do get afraid, they misconceptualize what the Bible actually talks about.
Yeah.
And then also there's that will of like being lazy. Yeah, I'm gonna say it ugly.
You're like,
y'all.
hold on.
I'm not even gonna double
Okay,
think
lazy.
about it. Being lazy minded to say like,
Yes.
well, maybe I don't want to. I don't know what you think.
I think that the word says that he gave us dominion. He's not doing anything else. He's done everything he's going to do.
Yes.
It's up to us to go and get it.
Yes.
They say the Bible says that the kingdom suffer violence and the violent take it by force. We got to go get this, but it's here for us to get it. We rely on him for the strength, the revelation,
Yes.
the help and guidance on how to. But you have to go do the work.
Yeah.
You have to go that planning. You have to put things in place, or else it's not coming. No one's coming to save you. I tell you that again. No one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go. You got to put some stuff in work.
Yeah.
And then I always tell my clients that I'm working with, we'll put a budget together, but I always leave room for God.
Yeah.
I leave room for him because we need some miracles sometimes. We need that additional. We need that. So there's that aspect of it. But
Yeah.
you have to do the work.
You have to.
Mr. Julian.
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Oh.
Into the bathroom?
Oh, I didn't
It's
share you
okay.
cut. So what I said was I don't go to church, but
Yeah.
do they feel as though sometimes people hide behind God to not take action at all? Like, oh, it's all good. He's gonna do it. He's gonna take care of it.
You know what? Honestly, I have not run to too many instances of that in my field, but I have heard of people saying, hey, kind of like building off of what Karina was mentioning earlier, that money was not in the Bible, right? Saying that money is bad, or the people who are the wealthiest are often people who are doing the most corrupt things, right? And because of that, they don't want to pursue their entrepreneurship journey or to be able to move for money, right? We have to understand that although money doesn't buy happiness, but if you had a whole lot of it, things gonna be a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather be a whole lot rich than a lot poor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Right.
makes sense.
I
Okay.
love that.
So as we wrap it up, tell us about faith over finance. Tell us how I know you'll be there,
I'll
right?
be there.
Tell us what you're gonna do. So now is that time.
Yes.
Break it down. Break it down. Break it. Tell it to us, Karina.
Sell it. I don't have to sell it. The crazy thing is faith over finance. When I say it, you guys, I believe so much that this is a movement, that it's not just an event. It's a start of saying, hey, this is what we're doing. And if you want to be a part of it, we're open arms for you to come in. Faith over finance allows us to be open, right? And so it's not just something that I say, hey, this is just for my Christian folk. No, anybody who feels led to come, please come. Because there's going to be lessons in these conversations that anyone can pick from at any point in life. And so I was very purposeful of picking different speakers that had different aspects and different mindsets, but we're all coming together, talking about our journey and how a foundation can be laid. So, I see that this being a start of a movement that goes beyond what we can even contain. And so if you want to be a part of that, I encourage you to, if you have the capacity to either come to this event or bring someone that can benefit from this event, because we're going to have young entrepreneurs, young professionals in there in this space. And I want to bring an experience to them, not to just come in this room and have an event to attend. No, I want people to come to this event and leave with something, feeling empowered and feeling inspired that they can take action on something now, right? So, even with, we have a speaker here, Simone, she told me about her bespoke method, and it set in my spirit. And I said, God, I'm gonna pray about this one, because she spoke to my heart, and it's the foundation of what I believe faith over finances is. So I was like, hey, Simone, can you come and be a part of this? And so I'm so excited for her to share what she's going to be talking about with you guys, because that's going to be assignment. But you're going to have speakers, going to have some giveaways. We're going to, do some things that I feel is going to be a great start for you guys to have a foundation. And of course, we're going to center it around finance, legacy, and faith. So, Simone, let me know what you think.
I was ecstatic to get the invitation. I tell Karina all the time, I am a fan. I am a fan. I send her clients. I'm trying to get on her book myself. I'm working with her because I've watched her. I've watched you be who you say you are. And I've watched you grow into being it. And so I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of the movement. I'm proud to be a part of it. The bespoke method that I'll be sharing is something that God gave me as far as budgeting, and I'll be able to share that with everybody. And just being a part of this, something wonderful is going to happen. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
If you can't feel it yet, don't wait till you feel it. Be there so that you don't miss it.
Yeah.
Something wonderful is going to happen. I'm excited.
Yeah. So you guys, we are, I know Cam is going to leave a link for you guys. We will have a link for you to purchase the ticket. We are still looking for sponsors. So if you feel led, reach out to us. But most importantly, we want to have you in the room to bring your spirit, to also be a blessing to those around you. So if you know anyone, or you feel led to come, please, we'll leave the link in the bio or in the wherever we have Master Cam, put the link for you guys. But if you have any questions regarding Faith Over Finance, we'll also have our social media, my social media, so that you guys can reach out to me directly.
Yep. We're going to put it in the screen.
Okay.
Right. Meow.
Okay. So we'll have the link on the
There you
screen
go.
for you guys to see. So, go ahead, get your ticket. We have it and I've been doing this for a couple of days because I want a lot of different people into the raffle. Now, if you purchase your ticket, today and tomorrow, the first 10 people who purchases that ticket will get a chance to enter a raffle. And we have some really great raffle giveaways. Okay. Not no mediocre stuff. So go ahead and purchase your ticket.
Yes, sir. And we will see you guys. Sorry. I'm still getting used to this. I don't have anybody behind the scenes. That's why the laptop's here. Cam does it all, baby.
Cam does it all.
So that being said, hey, I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
I like this live. Great speakers, man.
You guys.
Coffee with Cam, the
Coffee
first
with-
one live. We're going to continue to do it. I'm not going to say every Friday or whatever because it's going to happen. I'm going to figure out my schedule. But let me know how often you might want to see this, or if you want to come on the show. You feel me?
Yeah.
That being said, it's Friday. We all got jobs and
We all
businesses.
got stuff to do.
Cam, I think I want to see this every day, man. Could you do this every day, man?
He pushing you.
I mean, if we
Cam
get a
live in the
sponsor-
morning.
if we get a sponsor,
Right,
I'll do this shit
Yeah.
every day.
Right.
Oh,
Listen, we gotta get a
yes.
sponsor for Cam. Any sponsors out there for
Yes.
Coffee with Cam?
Wow.
Come on, step it up.
4, 5. If you're a coffee
Yeah.
company, I got you.
There you go.
I'll put mugs on the table, bro.
Yeah, we gotta get Dutch Bros in here.
During Journey's coffee. What's up, man? We'll take all of
Oh
it.
yeah, Journey. Sorry, I like Journey.
I like
Okay.
Journeys.
Yeah.
With that being said, we'll see y'all later.
Peace and love.